Hello, everybody. This is Tom Eckert here. You're listening to my podcast, Numerology, a GPS for the soul. This is your place to learn about the true power of numerology and how to use it to bring out the best in yourself, understand your loved ones better, take wise decisions, and prepare for your future. In other words, how to live your life aligned with your true destiny. Take your time to educate yourself and share these podcasts with your friends and family so they too can enjoy the great benefits of numerology. Enjoy! Hello there, and welcome to all my listeners to yet another episode. If you are new here, I want to welcome you to my podcast. In this podcast, we discuss numerology as a path for inner transformation, spiritual growth, and self-understanding. I make numerology accessible and applicable for everyday life, matters, and do my best to provide you with grounded information so that you can apply numerology in order to live a better, more conscious and balanced life, aligned with your soul and with your purpose. Before we dive into today's topic, here are a few ways you can dive deeper into numerology should you wish to do so. Firstly, you can book a numerology reading with me. In a reading, you can ask any question that is burning in your life and get precise answers. You can read more about numerology readings and contact me through the link in the episode description to book your reading. Also, if you wish to study numerology on a deeper level or even pursue it as a career, I'm inviting you to check out my numerology study paths. Check out my self-study numerology course if you wish to learn the fundamentals of numerology at your own pace. Or, if you want to go deeper, you can sign up to my complete path of certification from beginner to numerology expert and get certified as a professional numerologist. Again, to read more about my studies and sign up, check out the link provided in the episode description. Having said that, let us dive into today's fascinating topic, an important topic for many people who kind of start off their path in numerology. One of the main topics I've noticed beginner numerologists find hard to get a hang of is how do the numbers change their meanings and significations, or in other words, changing their function when they are positioned in different chart locations. For example, how does number 1 behave as a life path versus number 1 as an expression number, or number 1 as a soul urge number, right? So same number, different location. How do the significations change? Also, how do the numbers behave when they are positioned in a period cycle, like a personal year, a personal month, a pinnacle, or a challenge number? This second part I will talk about in my next episode pertaining to this particular topic about numbers behaving differently in chart locations. In today's episode, I will show you how the numbers change their behavior, function, and meaning in the 5 core locations of your numerology chart, namely the life path, expression, soul urge, personality, and birthday numbers. Now, I recommend writing this down because we will touch upon nuances. And secondly, if you happen to have a repeating number in your 5 core numbers, this is a perfect opportunity to examine how what I will teach you in this episode plays out in your actual life. And by the way, that's in general one of the best ways to deepen your understanding of numerology, to examine things in your own life and the life of those that are close to you. Lastly, if you're not familiar with the 5 core locations or numbers in your chart, I recommend going back to my episode about this topic to acquaint yourself with this foundational element of numerology. During the episode, I will not talk about each and every number, but rather choose a few numbers to demonstrate this topic on, and mostly focus on teaching you the way of thinking and approaching it so that no matter what number you are dealing with, you'll be able to interpret it properly when it shifts location. So let's start by talking about numbers showing up in the life path location. Any number that appears in this location will act more as your fundamental temperament, deep inner needs, and your fundamental lessons and perspective, or we can say motivating power in this lifetime. Let's take a few numbers as an example. Number 1 will always deal with learning about individuality and independence. It will be, it will approach life. It will be an approach. It will be an approach to life, and it will affect the deepest wishes and needs this person has. What I mean by that, this tendency to develop individuality and independence will be number 1's approach to life, and the way it'll kind of like understand its relationships towards life's events or interactions. It'll always be through that lens of individuality and independence. Moreover, it'll generate lessons pertaining to these core topics so that the individual will be able to master this lesson step by step. So, as you can see, the life path is about mastering the lessons of your core number. It's a very profound location. This is why number 1 here is both dealing with the topic. You can see that this topic becomes the main approach to life. You see that this location generates lessons so that the person can master this particular number. Let's look at a few more numbers. So number 2 will always deal with learning to see both sides of the coin, understanding others, and the meaning of relationships. They will encounter life lessons that will teach them how to see another's perspective, how to feel for others, how to cherish and appreciate kindness and sensitivity. Number 3 will always deal with learning, simplicity, joy, creative expression, and trusting the good in life. So the life path location will generate events and circumstances conducive to learning and mastering the qualities pertaining to the number that shows up in that location. This is why I keep on repeating for these 3 numbers I gave an example with. I was constantly repeating the lesson. They will learn the lesson of, right? Or they will encounter lessons in life that will allow, etc., right? So it's really about mastering a certain fundamental lesson or a few lessons pertaining to a certain number. Now, in addition to what I said, the emotional and temperament of all 3 numbers will be reflected here as well. So the 1, for example, will be somewhat emotionally direct and blunt, sometimes even rude. The 2 will be sensitive, gentle, and very emotionally impressionable. The 3 will be lighthearted, sweet, and curious. Now let's move on and look at numbers showing up in the expression number location. Now, for the sake of us actually understanding, we will use the exact same 3 numbers so we see how they change their function and significations based on a different location. Now, any number appearing in this location, in the expression number location, will act as a power and skill that will enable you to manifest your being, your thoughts, your ideas, and wishes in actual life. A number functioning here will have the qualities relevant to action, manifestation, and behavior with others. And these qualities will be extracted from it and will become more visible and active. In a sense, we can say the numbers will lend the qualities relevant, right, to the function of the location. So they lend certain functions pertaining to the life path number. Now they're lending from their same principal energy the energies or their aspects pertaining to manifestation and skill. So number 1 will have the power and skill of initiative, leadership capacities, being decisive, not wasting any time, and sometimes being somewhat pushy, aggressive, and cutting in its actions. Okay, we're talking here about manifestation, moving into action, right? Initiative. Number 2 will have the power and skill of cooperation, mediating, consideration, patience before action, weighing the options well, not being hasty, acting with tact and timing. Number 3 will be creative, have many ideas to offer, try out many new pathways to achieve what they want, easily connect with others in friendly ways to achieve mutual or personal endeavors. Now, notice how the interpretations and delineations changed completely. Same numbers, but I was talking about very different, we can say, aspects of that number, right? So same numbers, but what is being extracted out of them is location specific. The base core energy of the number is the same. And you can see that when I read the different delineations in each and every location, but it changes function. Let's keep going. The next location is numbers showing up in the soul urge location. Now, any number appearing in this location will affect the person's conscious aspirations, their dreams, their visions. A number functioning here will affect the way we envision our future, where we want to go, what we appreciate, our values and vision of how we'd like to see ourselves, as in our, so to speak, in our full bloom, or 5 years from now, and so on. And also, as a natural consequence, it will have an effect on our decision-making process. So let's take, again, those same 3 numbers and see how now they change, again, their meaning and signification, or how they, again, lend a different side of their core energy to function in this particular location. Number 1 will aspire and dream of being a strong-willed, independent person, and will always envision themselves being on top of things and having the upper hand. They will appreciate strong opinions and also express such opinions, and will appreciate more cutting and direct ways of thinking and asserting themselves. Can you see the difference? It's important. Take a moment, and you can also go back and just compare, right? How I talk about each number, the same number, in each and every location. Let's talk about number 2 now. Number 2 in the soul urge will aspire to find peace and harmony, will always hope to reach a place of comfort and nourishing safety, and envision reaching a place in life where they experience mutual exchange and support with people that are close to them. Number 3 will aspire to always have fun and joy in their life, no matter what they do. They will aspire to assimilate as much knowledge as possible and learn new things all the time. They will dream of arriving to a place where they can freely express their creativity and emotions. So notice here how I always emphasize the words aspire, envision, and appreciate. This doesn't mean that they necessarily achieve what they envision or aspire to. And this is an important point. It is their conscious wish. It influences their thoughts and decision-making processes. But you will have to, as a numerologist, you will have to look at their expression number, right, pertaining to manifestation, to see whether the number that is located in their soul urge or it works well with the number in the expression number that is responsible for the skill set and manifestation powers, right? Can it support the manifestation of these aspirations? We're starting to talk about some more complex relationships here. Next in line is the personality number. But before I keep talking any further, if you are enjoying this podcast and want to keep learning more grounded, applicable, high-quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology community and support me in creating more high-quality content for you. Also, make sure to check out the questions at the end of the episodes. I'd love to hear from you, and it really helps me know more about you, my listeners, my followers, and provide you with better content. Having said that, let us keep going. So now we're going to talk about numbers showing up in the personality number location. Now, any number appearing in this location will function mostly as an external display mask or as one's social persona. It will give its attributes more as a way of coping with society, building a bridge between the inner and outer, between the inner numbers, like the core 3 numbers that we've talked about so far, that define the major part of our being, and the outer world. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. The personality number builds a bridge between the inner numbers, the 3 core numbers, life path, expression number, and soul urge, that define the core of who we are, and the external world. It is like a display window, what we show to the world. Therefore, numbers in this location not only will have a different meaning, but significantly less impact on the person's life as a whole, or we can say like the major makeup or destiny. Some would say destiny. Now let's talk about the numbers. Number 1, for example, will attempt to portray being a very kind of self-assured personality, very self-reliant, and also quick to react with an opinion. However, interestingly, when you dig a bit deeper, you may find or discover that there's not much to back this up, and that actually inwardly the person may be much more of a softie, of a gentle personality, number 6 or number 2 or number 3. Okay? Let's talk about number 2. Number 2 will attempt to always be nice, showing up in the personality number. It will always attempt to be nice to everyone, to be pleasing to the people around, to speak kindly and with care, even if inside they have a completely different range of motivations and emotions. For example, like the ambitiousness of number 8 or the criticism of the 7, right? But still, it's going to be their personality number, like what they display or at least feel comfortable displaying to the outside. And number 3 will try to be sweet and charming and funny and outgoing, right? They will appear more easygoing and friendly. However, again, as you get to know them better, you may discover that their inner temperament is filled with 4 energy, which makes them much more rigid or strict in their ways, far more organized, and not as easygoing as they display themselves or portray themselves to be. Now, naturally, it can also happen that the inner numbers work in wonderful harmony and alignment with the personality number. And as a result, what one displays to the world and what one actually is are in harmony with one another. I just gave you this kind of contrast so that you understand better what the personality number really is, and so that you can actually, differentiate between those core inner numbers and the personality number function and meaning. Last but not least of our 5 core numbers, we are going to talk about numbers showing up in the birthday number location. Now, any number appearing in this location will point to an inborn talent and skill. So instead of having a more major role, like a life lesson or a manifestation power or even a vision, here the number will lend its natural talents. It's very important to understand because there are some overlapping functions between the birthday number and the expression number, because both have something to do with skill. But remember, the expression number has a huge scope of influence on our chart, because it's not the skill there is about the manifestation of our entire being. Here, when we are referring to the birthday number, we're talking about talent, like an inborn little superpower, so to speak. Okay, it's not about the manifestation of our entirety. It's some inborn skill, something we almost like came with, we can say, already as a gift, or something perhaps from previous lifetimes that is already with us as a gift. So to give examples with the numbers we've already talked about, number 1 will lend the talent of decisiveness and initiative when needed. Number 2 will lend the talent of consideration, tactfulness, and listening when needed. Number 3 will lend the talent of humor, lightheartedness, and creative thinking. So in this location, the numbers represent, as I said, something more alike a natural superpower that is naturally available to us, but is not who we are on the deepest level. They can be used and utilized and support, every other element and location in the chart. But in and of themselves, they have, this very particular function of being a talent. So it's not, it's not necessarily something that's gonna define big time, so to speak. For example, the decision-making process, or what job we're gonna move into, how we're gonna fulfill our deepest, wishes and destiny. It's more like a certain quality that we're really strong in, and we can use in times of need, or as an expression of talent, or as an expression of a hobby, something that just nourishes us and we love. Okay, these are just examples. There's much more to that, but for now, I think I'll just stick to that to not confuse you. Now, I want to say that if you're not, familiar with the 5 core numbers, as I said in the beginning, I really recommend listening to the 5 core number episode. There's also an episode about the 3 core numbers, the life path, the expression number, and the soul urge, because they are even more, I would say, crucial to understanding our fundamental makeup. These will really help you to kind of understand this episode even better. So just want to mention that. Now that we've covered all the 5 core locations, you can see how the numbers lend their principal qualities in a way that serves each location. You can look at each location like a part of a prism. And the number is the light that kind of hits the prism, and each location is a particular color, right? Borrowed from that original light. So if you have, 3 twos in your 5 core numbers, 5 core locations in your chart, they will all have the same principal energy. But having gone through the prism of being in different locations, they will lend very particular qualities, bend their energy in a particular way, and align with the function of that particular location. I think it's a great metaphor to think about it like a prism. So every number is like white light, but once it goes through a prism, it splits into different kind of functions, and each function is like a certain location in our chart. Same original light, same original energy, but functioning slightly differently. Now, as I've mentioned in the very beginning, the point was not to go through all the numbers, but really to show you the way of thinking. Now, you are invited to think about the other numbers and how they behave in each location in your chart. And remember that a deep knowledge of the numbers will make it much easier for you to interpret how a number will behave in the varying locations. So for that reason, I also recommend you figure out your own 5 core numbers and then listen to the episodes pertaining to each and every number. Okay, and then also see how they function differently. That will give you much more understanding of the principal energy of each number. And my friends, as always, I hope that this inspires you, right, to appreciate the depth of numerology and keep learning it deeper and deeper. Now, before we wrap this all up, again, if you're enjoying this podcast and want to keep learning more grounded, more high quality numerology, make sure to click the follow or subscribe button on the platform you're listening from and become part of my numerology community and support me in spreading this work and sharing this work and developing it. That helps me a lot. Also, don't forget to check out my professional numerology readings and to check out the self-study numerology course and also in-depth numerology certification studies if you want to acquire deeper mastery of numerology. And of course, remember to leave your answers to the questions at the end of the episodes. It just helps me know more about you and provide you with better content. Okay, my friends, as always, it's been a joy to record something, to share something of significance and meaning with you. And I'll see you as always in the next episodes. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, and you want to go deeper into numerology, check out my website, tom-eckert.com. You can also book a numerology reading or even study numerology yourself through my courses. I'll see you in the next episode.